sculpture, painting, and decoration in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt, one of the most iconic and enduring civilizations in history, is renowned for its remarkable contributions to art and culture. Among these contributions, sculpture, painting, and decoration hold a prominent place. These art forms were not merely decorative but deeply intertwined with the Egyptians' religious beliefs, social structure, and daily life. This essay delves into the intricate world of ancient Egyptian art, exploring the techniques, materials, and purposes of sculpture, painting, and decoration in this ancient civilization. 1. Sculpture in ancient Egypt. Sculpture in ancient Egypt was a highly sophisticated and symbolic art form. It served various purposes, from religious and ceremonial to commemorative and decorative. The Egyptians believed that statues could house the spirits of gods, kings, and deceased individuals, making them an integral part of religious and funerary practices. Materials and techniques. Egyptian sculptors primarily used stone, including limestone, sandstone, and granite, which were abundantly available along the Nile. They also worked with wood, ivory, and metals like gold and bronze. The choice of material often depended on the intended purpose and the social status of the person commissioning the work. The techniques used by Egyptian sculptors were highly advanced for their time. They employed a combination of carving, chiseling, and polishing to create detailed and lifelike representations. Tools made of copper and later bronze were used for these processes. The initial stages involved roughing out the basic shape, followed by finer detailing and smoothing to achieve the final form. Types of sculptures. 1. Statuary. Statuary was the most common form of sculpture in ancient Egypt. These statues varied in size from small figurines to colossal monuments. The most famous examples include the Great Sphinx of Giza and the statues of pharaohs like Ramses II at Abu Simbel. These statues often depicted gods, pharaohs, and other significant figures in idealized forms, emphasizing their divine or noble qualities. 2. Reliefs. Reliefs were another important form of sculpture. These were carved into the walls of temples, tombs, and other structures. There are two main types of reliefs: bas-relief, where the figures are slightly raised from the background, and sunk relief, where the figures are carved into the surface. Reliefs often depicted scenes of daily life, religious rituals, and mythological narratives. 3. Funerary art. Funerary sculptures, such as the iconic funerary mask of Tutankhamun, were created to ensure the deceased's safe passage to the afterlife. These included statues of the deceased, often placed in tombs to serve as a vessel for their spirit, and shabdi figures, small statuettes meant to act as servants for the deceased in the afterlife. Symbolism and function. Egyptian sculpture was deeply symbolic. The choice of posture, gestures, and attributes in statues and reliefs conveyed specific meanings. For instance, the pharaoh was often depicted with a calm and composed expression, symbolizing his divine authority and eternal nature. Deities were represented with their characteristic attributes, such as the falcon-headed Horus or the jackal-headed Anubis. In funerary contexts, sculptures played a crucial role in the Egyptians' beliefs about the afterlife. They believed that statues could serve as a physical vessel for the deceased's ka, spirit, and provide a focal point for offerings and rituals. This belief is exemplified in the practice of placing statues in tombs and temples to ensure the deceased's well-being in the afterlife. 2. Painting in ancient Egypt. Painting was another essential aspect of ancient Egyptian art. It adorned the walls of temples, tombs, and palaces, creating vivid and detailed representations of religious rituals, daily life, and mythological narratives. Egyptian painting is characterized by its distinctive style, use of color, and symbolic content. Materials and techniques. Egyptian painters used a variety of materials and techniques to create their works. The primary medium was tempera, made by mixing pigments with a binding agent like gum arabic or egg yolk. The pigments were derived from natural sources, including minerals and plants. For instance, red and yellow ochre provided earthy tones, while malachite and azurite were used for green and blue hues. The techniques used by Egyptian painters were both intricate and methodical. They often began by preparing the surface, typically a plaster-coated wall, by smoothing it and applying a whitewash. The artist would then sketch the outlines of the figures and scenes using red or black ink. Afterward, they filled in the outlines with color, following a predetermined palette and adhering to strict conventions regarding color symbolism and composition. Themes and subjects. 1. Religious and mythological themes. Much of Egyptian painting was devoted to religious and mythological themes. Temples and tombs were adorned with scenes depicting gods, goddesses, and various mythological narratives. These paintings often served a didactic purpose, illustrating religious beliefs and rituals. For example, the tomb of Seti I in the Valley of the Kings features elaborate paintings of the pharaoh's journey through the afterlife, guided by various deities. 2. Funerary art. Funerary paintings were intended to ensure the deceased's safe passage to the afterlife. Tomb walls were covered with scenes depicting the deceased's life, their journey to the afterlife, and their interactions with gods and goddesses. The Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and incantations, was often illustrated with intricate paintings to guide the deceased through the afterlife's challenges. 3. Scenes of daily life. Egyptian paintings also depicted scenes of daily life, providing valuable insights into the civilization's social structure, customs, and activities. These scenes included agricultural activities, hunting, fishing, feasting, and various crafts. The tomb of Nebaman, a high-ranking official, is renowned for its vibrant paintings of banquets, dancing, and other aspects of elite life in ancient Egypt. Symbolism and conventions. Egyptian painting was highly symbolic, adhering to a strict set of conventions regarding composition, scale, and color. Figures were often depicted in a composite view, with the head and legs in profile and the torso facing forward. This convention allowed for the most recognizable and informative representation of each body part. Color symbolism was also significant in Egyptian painting. Different colors conveyed specific meanings and were used to distinguish between various elements and figures. For instance, red and yellow were associated with male figures, while female figures were often depicted with lighter tones. Blue and green symbolized fertility, life, and rebirth, while black was associated with the fertile soil of the Nile and the afterlife. 3. Decoration in ancient Egypt. Decoration in ancient Egypt extended beyond sculpture and painting, encompassing a wide range of artistic expressions that adorned temples, tombs, palaces, and everyday objects. This decoration was not merely ornamental but served to reinforce religious beliefs, social hierarchies, and cultural values. Architectural decoration. 1. Temples. Egyptian temples were lavishly decorated with intricate carvings, paintings, and reliefs. The walls, columns, and ceilings of temples were covered with scenes depicting gods, pharaohs, and various religious rituals. The Great Temple of Ammonius at Karnak, for example, features colossal statues, towering obelisks, and detailed reliefs that celebrate the gods and glorify the pharaoh. 2. Tombs. Tombs, especially those of the elite, were decorated with elaborate paintings and reliefs that illustrated the deceased's life, their journey to the afterlife, and their interactions with deities. The tomb of Nefertari, the wife of Ramses II, is renowned for its beautifully preserved wall paintings that depict the queen's journey through the afterlife, accompanied by various gods and goddesses. 3. Palaces. Royal palaces were also decorated with elaborate artwork, including frescoes, reliefs, and inlays. These decorations often depicted scenes of royal life, military victories, and religious ceremonies, emphasizing the pharaoh's divine authority and power. Decorative arts. 1. Jewelry. Egyptian jewelry was not only beautiful but also rich in symbolism. Crafted from gold, silver, and semi-precious stones, jewelry items like necklaces, bracelets, and rings often featured motifs such as the ankh, symbol of life, the scarab beetle, symbol of rebirth, and the eye of Horus, symbol of protection. These items were worn by both the living and the dead, serving as amulets to protect and empower the wearer. 2. Furniture. Egyptian furniture was often intricately decorated with inlays, carvings, and gilding. Chairs, beds, and chests featured designs inspired by nature, mythology, and religious symbols. The throne of Tutankhamun, discovered in his tomb, is a prime example of the exquisite craftsmanship and decorative artistry of Egyptian furniture. 3. Textiles. Textiles, including clothing and linens, were decorated with intricate patterns and motifs. The Egyptians used natural dyes to create vibrant colors and often embroidered garments with elaborate designs. The decoration of textiles extended to everyday items such as cushions, curtains, and shrouds used in funerary contexts. Symbolism and purpose. The decoration in ancient Egypt was deeply symbolic and served multiple purposes. It reinforced religious beliefs, social hierarchies, and cultural values. For instance, the decoration of temples and tombs was intended to honor the gods, ensure the well-being of the deceased, and legitimize the pharaoh's divine authority. Moreover, decorative arts such as jewelry and textiles were imbued with symbolic meanings that provided protection, empowerment, and status to the wearer. The use of specific motifs, colors, and materials conveyed messages about the individual's social status, religious beliefs, and personal identity. 4. Conclusion. Sculpture, painting, and decoration in ancient Egypt were not mere artistic endeavors but integral aspects of the civilization's religious, social, and cultural fabric. These art forms served to honor the gods, ensure the well-being of the deceased, and legitimize the authority of the pharaoh. They were characterized by their symbolic content, adherence to strict conventions, and sophisticated techniques. The legacy of Egyptian art endures to this day, captivating scholars, artists, and the general public with its timeless beauty and profound symbolism. By studying the sculpture, painting, and decoration of ancient Egypt, we gain valuable insights into the civilization's beliefs, values, and way of life. And we continue to be inspired by the artistic achievements of this remarkable culture.